Hey everybody, welcome in. I'm back again after just a few minutes. We completed our PrizePicks YFC daily video. Thank y'all for joining us for that. Obviously, we want to give you guys some different content outside of DFS here at yourfielderschoice.com. Right now, with yourfielderschoice.com, we do have our free Discord available. Be sure to check that out because if you are not currently a premium member, now's the time to get in. You have access to all sports here at Your Fielder's Choice. That means that you have access to all of our Discords, our premium MLB, our premium chat that covers all sports, our premium college chat. So there's a lot of different things that are going to be available to you here at Your Fielder's Choice. Today on the Hit and Run show, I'm going to be running solo. We're going to give our guy Pete a day off. That guy is the hardest working man in the industry. And he does it all, if you guys know. So, Pete, shout out to you, man. I hope you can get a nice little recovery day here. But we're going to be talking MLB, guys. Today we have a really nice slate. We do have some cold weather out there today. It looks like currently on the docket we have 8 games, which is a little bit above our normal kind of comfort zone. We really like to be in that 5 to 7 range if possible, but we'll do it with 8. And I don't see a ton of weather out there that's really going to deter us from anything. So obviously we want to be able to jump in and highlight some of our top plays. Today, with it being an 8-game slate, I am going to be going position by position. We're going to be talking a little bit about top plays in regards to cash. And then, of course, at the end of the show, I'll talk about GPP stacks, maybe a home run call, people that I want to target, people that I want to attack in regards to MLB stacking. So if you're new with us, please hit the like and subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, whatever social platform you're watching this on. It's much appreciated. Thank you, as always, to our team here at Your Fielder's Choice. There's a ton of stuff going on. If you get into our Discord, check out that winning lineup stream. You're seeing just amazing wins from our subscribers, from our coaches. With us growing, you're growing, you're with us here. We appreciate you. Thank you. Let's jump into some MLB. All right. So pitching is where we're going to start today. Obviously, with pitching, we want to make sure to target our top plays. We want to mitigate risk, right? And this MLB season so far has been crazy because they're talking a ton about the batted ball data, all of the exit velocities being down, home runs are down, and it's becoming this dead ball era. Obviously, this new baseball, there's a lot of these humidors that are going to be in these stadiums. So there's a lot, that's going against us here in regards to baseball scoring runs. However, with that being said, pitching is that much more important to be able to target. Myself, I personally have been doing really good about focusing in on the right pitchers, the right pitching pool lately. And I think if you can just hit those right 2 or 3, 4, 5 guys max in your player pool, you're going to be sitting good today. So let's dig in today. With that being said, we're going to talk a little bit about BVP as we go along by position to see if there's anything that stands out to us. But I do want to mention today that it looks like from a runs scored standpoint, it's going to be a low-scoring slate. The New York Yankees are probably the highest-scoring team projected right now. If you're looking at that game from a weather standpoint, that winds are going to be blowing out 15 to 20 miles per hour. So we're going to keep that in our brains for now and to kind of see where we want to target from there. With that being said, pitching, here's where we're going to start, guys. We're looking at the top arms, right? So Pablo Lopez obviously is at the top of the slate, 9.9K. Shout out to Pablo. He's on my season-long team. I think that he's a guy that is a great pitcher. I don't love the spot here for Washington. I think that obviously, he could definitely be good here. Personally, I think this is going to be a game to kind of target the bats, but Pablo Lopez does have a really good K rate. The problem is that the Washington Nationals don't strike out a bunch. So he's not going to be somebody that is going to be absolutely at the top of my list. I do want to look at, kind of some guys that were going down. Joe Ryan, I'm really not going to pay 9.6K for him. Michael Wacha, we're going to talk a little bit about him later on as a pitcher that I want to attack. But Shohei here. Shohei Ohtani, 9.0K against the Cleveland Indians. If you looked at our PrizePicks video, obviously, you'll see that I really like this guy today. The Cleveland Indians are obviously a strikeout-prone team. Shohei Ohtani is one of the best strikeout pitchers of our generation, one of the best players of our generation. 31.1% K rate, 3.57 xFIP. This Cleveland lineup here on DraftKings, you want to target strikeouts. They're striking out at a 24.8% K rate there. So obviously, with that being said, that's a lot of strikeouts that are going to be baked in here. And I think Ohtani's going to be somebody here that we can target. Looks like Cleveland's barely inching over 3 runs as the implied total here. So Ohtani, I really, really like here as kind of the cash SP1 type of guy. We should see a lot of ownership on him. So he's definitely somebody we want to target here. He is the most expensive pitcher on FanDuel. However, that being said, he's going to be one of my favorites. I may actually pay down here on FanDuel. There's a guy I like a little bit better from a value standpoint, and we'll talk about that as we go down. I do want to mention, though, just because it's worth mentioning, umpire data. Brian Knight looks to be behind the plate for that game. He's an extreme hitters umpire. Man, we see some crazy umpire data with Angel Hernandez and all that nonsense going on. But all that being said, I really do like Ohtani here. I think there's just going to be a ton of strikeouts. I think that he's in a great spot. And what's good about it is he can just get in for a quality start and qualify for the win. He's really going to have some bonus upside there. But even if he doesn't, I think he's somebody we can absolutely play here as an SP1. All right, so that being said, let's move down. Blackburn, not a ton of interest in here. Zach Plesac, he's okay. I mean, Angels have been pretty hot lately. Mike Trout's up to his antics again, being a superstar. So I'm probably going to fade there. But I do love my guy, curveball Charlie Morton here. I say my guy. He's probably more Pete's guy here. I do think that Charlie Morton is in an amazing spot. He's actually my favorite play over on PrizePicks. So be sure to check out that video or jump into our PrizePicks room to see the prop bet on that. Charlie Morton right now, 3.66 xFIP, 28.1% K rate. He's priced down 8.2K on DraftKings. If you look at FanDuel, my God, like he is a value today, 7.7K here. Now, looking at his most recent starts, obviously people can look and say, well, Adam, you got to look at his last couple starts, right? The Padres, the Dodgers. It's not looking good for him. He started out great against Cincinnati, but those are 2 tough teams, man. He just wasn't having a good West Coast visit, obviously, traveling across country. It wasn't the best spot for him there, obviously. But, obviously you could say, okay, well, I'm a more recency biased guy. He let up, 9 earned runs in those 2 starts, but he did have 9 Ks, okay? So he's not facing the type of offense here that is going to give him that kind of a trouble here with the Chicago Cubs. They've shown that they've been really good. They've shown they've been super anemic. So I think today we're going to see one of those games from Charlie Morton where he's going to get a lot of strikeouts. Obviously, there's a little bit of a worry if he's going to get back into form, but I see no reason why not. I love Charlie Morton here as a cash play, top play. He should see some ownership here. He's a guy that I think that on FanDuel I'm probably going to target here, with Atlanta being favored to win. They're the home team here. So it's obviously, a great spot. I think he's going to pitch much better at home too. So that being said, Charlie Morton, probably my favorite pitcher on FanDuel for cash top plays as well. And then on DraftKings, I'm loving him as a fellow SP1. I think that 8.2 price tag is a great time to attack him. Let's talk about another pitcher that we can consider in cash, but he should see some ownership here, whether or not he's going to be the guy that we go to. He's not much cheaper on DraftKings, but Jordan Montgomery. Looking at Montgomery, I think from this season, he's been a Yankees guy in the system that's been there a little while. He's had a couple of decent, good outings here. He just came off a game against Detroit. He pitched against Baltimore also, 24.1% K rate. Baltimore striking out a little over 20% K rate against left-handers, but I think it's a little bit skewed. I think the cool thing about Montgomery, he's pretty elite against lefties. He's going to face a couple here, but righties, he's actually allowed only a 3.07 WOBA, which is not crazy bad. 0.132 ISO, meaning he's not striking out he's not getting hit really hard from the ISO standpoint, but his K rate, it maintains at 24% here against a Baltimore team that may struggle. Now, the reason I kind of want to say I'm leaving Montgomery out of my cash pool is just because I feel like this game, it could turn into a run fest, especially with that wind blowing out. So Jordan Montgomery is going to be somebody that I think that we need to just temper our expectations on. I do like him here, but he's not going to be somebody I'm absolutely just going to throw in there. I want to mention Christian Javier because I feel like you're looking at my hat right now and you're like, oh my God, I can't wait till this homer talks about Christian Javier and the Astros. But with that being said, I love the Astros today. I do. But as from a pitching standpoint, Christian Javier, I do want to see if this guy is going to be stretched out to be able to throw the amount of pitches that he needs to here. I mean, he's kind of been a bullpen arm. Obviously, the Astros have not started out great in regards to starting pitching outside of maybe Verlander. They need McCullers back. They're a second half team. This tends to happen. But Christian Javier, he has a 32% K rate, 32.2% K rate. That's higher than Shohei Ohtani's right now. This guy has a 13.4% swing strike rate. He does have a tendency to get hit a little bit hard. He becomes a fly ball pitcher, obviously. And with that being said, you have some guys on the Texas Rangers that have some high ISOs, some guys that can hit the ball pretty hard. So there is some danger here. So he kind of leaks into that GPP territory, but he has a phenomenal, curve that he throws. It's like he has this great slider that he throws against right-handers. Against the left-handers, he throws primarily a fastball, a little bit of a knuckle curve too. Javier, I do have some interest in, will be more a GPP only type of play. I do want to mention him. And that being said, as far as arms that I'm looking on in regards to cash or top plays, and I don't want to talk about all the pitchers, but I do want to talk about Jacob Junis here for San Francisco here going against Oakland. Obviously, Junis is a former Kansas City Royal. Junis has been a guy that, I feel like, was it Jacob Junis? It says San Francisco here. Maybe he's coming on as not an opener. Maybe he's coming on as long relief here. So let's just go ahead and pull him up because he is projected here. And if he doesn't wind up pitching, obviously, then, we'll play someone else here. But Junis is a guy that I like, 24.5% K rate. This lineup for Oakland, they can get super hot. They can score runs here. But I think that Junis is going to be in a great spot because he's really, really elite against righties. Not as great against lefties, but you're only worried about Tony Kemp, Seth Brown, maybe McKinney if he's in the lineup here. But really high K rate. This lineup is projected to strike out at 26.1% K rate against righties. So I'll have to double check on that. My apologies if I didn't read up on if they're going to have an opener or not. But that's what it looks like, is that Junis is slated to play. If he doesn't, obviously, then we'll adjust as need be. So that kind of covers the pitching guys. I know it's not a huge pitching pool. You can absolutely play some guys here in GPP if you like them. But there's a lot of places to attack. I would just say, just to recap, top pitchers, Shohei Ohtani, Charlie Morton. That seems kind of a plug and play there. You can consider Jordan Montgomery, maybe Javier for more GPP. Jacob Junis also, if he comes in as a long relief play. Pablo Lopez should be super low owned here against the Nationals. Joe Ryan, somebody you can absolutely look at here. I think that talented pitcher here against a Detroit team. I do wonder a little bit if he's going to struggle. I mean, it's a pretty small sample size here, guys. He's got good stuff, but this Detroit team, man, they can be sneaky. I was on Baez yesterday, and he absolutely smashed it for me. So I think that's somebody for us to consider and us to look at. All right. That is our arms plays on FanDuel. We talked about it. Ohtani is up there as available for an SP1. Charlie Morton's my favorite because he's a pay down at 7.7K. I think he has the leash to get the quality start and the win, and that's what we want on FanDuel. Digging into bats, we're going position by position here. Catcher position. So from an ownership standpoint right now, it looks like Travis d'Arnaud is finally creeping up over that 3K range. I love Atlanta here. I talked about that during the PrizePicks video. I will say that attacking leader here seems like the way to go. Looking at the Atlanta bats, I want to mention Mark Leader. We're talking about attacking pitchers, right? 5.64 xFIP right now. The guy is getting hit pretty hard, 17.1% walk rate. He has reverse splits even in his small sample size. 465 WOBA, 357 ISO to right-handers, which is one of the reasons why I love these Braves today. And he's not good against left-handers either. So I think that this Braves team is going to be super popular, probably chalky in cash, which is okay. This is some chalk that we may want to eat. I will say that he throws that sinker pitch a lot, kind of like that sinking fastball. And you want to target these guys that are great at it. Matt Olson, absolutely elite. Marcell Ozuna, d'Arnaud, Dickerson. d'Arnaud batting fifth, projected in this lineup. It seems kind of a no-brainer here at 3.3K. He's somebody that we want to look at. Kind of digging in to see if there's other plays that I consider. You can obviously attack Waka with Zach Collins. Waka's more of a reverse splits pitcher, but Collins has been super hot. Been a great play because you get a guy, a hitting catcher under 4K, that's batting in the middle of that lineup for Toronto. He's somebody that I absolutely love there. If I look at BVP, just looking at from that standpoint, if there's anybody that kind of stood out there, this is what kind of worries me here. If Robinson Chirinos starts, he has a lot of history. Well, I say a lot, 4 at-bats against Jordan Montgomery there. But, he's 2 for 3 at 4 at-bats, has a walk, has a home run. Obviously has some good BVP off of this guy, and he can absolutely smash him here. So somebody to look at. there's nothing really else there from a BVP standpoint, not a lot of history with a lot of these catchers. So, I mean, with that being said, I just think that, you kind of have to go with the obvious play, which is going to be a Collins or a d'Arnaud, and you can kind of get weird. If you want to just pay down and say, well, I'm just trying to get the most cheap guy, Robinson Chirinos, he has good hitting BVP here against Montgomery in a good hitting environment. Winds are out 15 to 20 miles per hour. We talked about that at the beginning of the stream. So definitely somebody to look at there, guys. Catcher's pretty simple. We're moving on to first base here. We want to target some plays here. On FanDuel, you can play first base and catcher together. So you can play either or. I probably will be playing a first baseman today in FanDuel if I do decide to play it. With that being said, looking at it from an ownership standpoint, Vlad Guerrero, no surprise here against Michael Walker, the reverse splits pitcher. Love Vlad today. Obviously, he's going to be high owned. He's going to be at the top of the ownership charts with a lot of the other Toronto guys. So Toronto or Atlanta is kind of the places that we're going today. With that being said, Michael Walker, I've never liked this guy. I think he's always been garbage, but, he is reverse splits here. So we should be able to see a good opportunity for Vlad and company to take care of business. I wanted to kind of look and peek to see if he had any previous history, but it looks like he has had 5 plate appearances against Walker, 1 walk, but he's 2 for 4. So he's hitting 500, and both of those hits are doubles, which are one of the reasons why I really liked on the PrizePicks standpoint, total bases for Vlad Guerrero. So I definitely think you should look there. He's obviously going to be priced up. He's 5.8K for FanDuel, 4.0 for FanDuel, 5.8 for DraftKings. He's going to be high owned for a reason. So we can definitely start there. I do want to mention, obviously, Matt Olson, because he is, one of the guys that I like from the Atlanta side of things. I mean, we know that Leader's kind of garbage, and actually he's really garbage. And so Matt Olson is at the top of that lineup, hitting second. Now, remember, this is something that Pete had mentioned earlier in the season, that in Atlanta, this ballpark was the ballpark built for Freddie, right? Free money Freddie was there for so many years. What did they do whenever Freddie decided to change locations and go to LA? They picked up Matt Olson. He's in that lineup for a reason. A left-hander, a short right porch in right field. Like, this is a really good spot for him to go yard. He's in a great spot against a guy that is pretty garbage. And just looking at the pitch data on here, I would say that Matt Olson, probably point per dollar play, is a better play than Vlad Guerrero, just because you're going to save about $800 in salary. On FanDuel, if you're looking at him there, you're going to save only $200. So I think Vlad, I'd probably lean on FanDuel a little bit higher than I would on the DraftKings site. So, I mean, there's a lot of good plays that I also like in first base that are good for the reason of being a value play. Paul Blackburn for the Oakland Athletics. He's in a tough spot here. Brandon Belt's really pricey from a GPP standpoint, 5.7K. He's been kind of hot with that San Francisco team, lefty versus righty matchup here. Somebody to look at. If we're going to go cheaper, I think we talked about this game a lot, but I'll talk about it again. I love this Baltimore-New York Yankees game. Obviously, Anthony Rizzo is fresh off of a 52-point outing, which was absolutely amazing. If you didn't have him in GPPs, you were sunk. But the other side of that game, I mean, I think that Wells might have a little bit of success here against the Yankees. I don't absolutely love them. If they're going to be high owned, I'll probably be off of them here. I think that people are going to jump on them as they had a big game. And I mean, they're more GPP for me, but I love Ryan Mountcastle here against Jordan Montgomery. He struggles a little bit more against right-handers. I do like Montgomery from a pitching standpoint, but Mountcastle here is in a great spot, hitting fourth against a kind of a cut fastball, knuckle curve. Jordan Montgomery likes to go in on the right-handed side of the plate. Ryan Mountcastle hits that curveball that he throws extremely well. He hits that cutter extremely well. If the only pitches that he seems to be struggling with here would be the changeup, but Mountcastle profiles very well today. I think that if you're looking at him on the FanDuel website, he's only 2.8K. DraftKings, if you want to get a cheapie here and you're like, I'm going to fade the chalkier Guerrero and Olson, I love Mountcastle here. He's only 3.0K. So I think that's definitely a place you can consider going there. And then if I'm looking at any other value plays, Michael Pineda here, Miguel Sano, I want to look at their BVP because I know Sano has been around for a while, and he's faced with, he has good BVP. Only faced him 3 times against Pineda, but he's 1 for 3, 1 strikeout and 1 home run. So Pineda is somebody that's down there. He's only 2.4K. He's going to be a value play here. With Sano having that huge power, he's somebody that we can target. If you can get any of these guys on the Twins side, Pineda could get lit up here. I don't like him as a pitcher. He can have some success. Low strikeouts, tends to get hit hard. It just kind of depends, man. He gets hit really hard, actually, looking at his hard hit data. And looking at the pitch types, he only throws a 90-mile-per-hour fastball, which is not anything great, and he throws it over half of the time here. So if we're looking at that from a batted ball standpoint, Miguel Sano, he crushes those. 651 WOBA, 1,000 ISO. Yeah, he's a guy that we want to target as a low-owned GPP play. All right, that being said, we're going to move on to second base. Let's see what we got here. So in regards to like high-owned guys, I see that Stripling is going to be targeted here with the Trevor Story play. Boston, I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of this lineup. I think that Stripling absolutely can get hit hard here. He's a reverse splits pitcher also as a righty, but I've seen some good things out of him here. He seems to pitch better at home in Toronto. It can be a hitter's ballpark here. But with that being said, Trevor Story, absolutely. He's somebody that you can look at. He has good pitch data, batted ball data against this pitch type. All you really need to do is hit a fastball and hit a slider to be good against Stripling. And I don't see Story as like really a play that I want to hammer in here. And he's projected for super high ownership. The guy I'm going to target is a little bit more expensive here. Ozzie Albies, 5.1K. I think I talked about that. He's been hot to start the season. I love Albies here for Atlanta, batting at the top of that lineup, switch hitter. Generally, whenever you target Atlanta, and you target Albies, you want him from his right side of the plate. However, he's exceptional from both sides. Mark Leader's pretty trash here. That Chicago bullpen might be trash. So depending on what that looks like, Albies is going to be a top play for me today. And of course, I own a lot of him in season-long leagues, so I do want to mention him here. A guy that I do want to mention, 5.3K, Jazz Chisholm. Jazz it's phenomenal to see how priced up he is and what the algorithm says about him right now. But Miami is just sneaky, man. Eric Fetty is pretty garbage against lefties. He gives up 369 WOBA, 206 ISO. Chisholm at the top of that lineup. Jesus Sanchez. I love that two-man stack. Even though they're the 1 and the 4 hitter, I think Fetty can be absolutely exposed today. He's a sinker cutter guy against the left side of the plate. Chisholm and Sanchez both have really good ISOs, 238 and 231 against there. I know I'm jumping ahead talking about Sanchez, but if I'm looking at the sinker pitch, like they hit that well, let's see what they do against the cutter. Yeah, pretty good. 368 ISO for Chisholm. Sanchez does not have a lot of batted ball data from that side of the plate. So Fetty, man, he could get hit hard today, especially against Jazz, who's going to be a speed threat as well. So you can look at stolen bases and things like that. So he's priced up. He's more GPP at that price, but 5.3K, he's absolutely somebody you can play there. Somebody you want to look at from the second base standpoint. From a value play, Luis Arias still batting at the top of that Twins lineup against Michael Pineda here. He's only 3.4K. He's somebody you absolutely want to consider here. And then Jorge Polanco, obviously at 4K, is somebody we can consider there as well. So there's some different options that you have there. You can look around and see what you want to do, but second base seems kind of straightforward. So we'll see what happens there. On a batted ball, a BVP standpoint, I do want to look at second base before we move on. And it looks like here, let's see. Jonathan Scope, really good BVP against Joe Ryan. Urias, which is a lefty smasher against Montgomery here. He's in a good spot if he starts in the lineup. So those are a couple guys to mention here. Nothing really to write home about. We're moving on to the third base position here to see what we got. All right, so looks like from a value standpoint, man, Brad Miller is projecting really good here against Christian Javier, which I could definitely understand and sign off on here. But this kind of gets into the part of like where we can get a little bit different with our lineups. I think some of these plays so far have been a little bit chalkier, and I think that you get to the third base and you're looking at guys that you're like, okay, well, who's going to do well? Obviously, Austin Reilly is somebody that we want to look at because Austin Reilly, as you may or may not know, is a reverse splits hitter. And then we're looking at a Mark Leader Jr. here, who is a reverse splits pitcher in a bad way. The stars are lining up for Austin Reilly today. He's probably going to be the guy. I would expect when it's all said and done that Austin Reilly may lead ownership over a Brad Miller or a Devers against Stripling or even a Donaldson or somebody like that. I love Bregman too today, but I think that Austin Reilly, 4.1K, is going to be one of my favorite plays, probably my top play in regards to just if we can get him at depressed ownership, we absolutely want to throw this guy in there because you can play him with Olson or Albies, or you can play him with Darno. Love these Atlanta Braves today. So Austin Reilly, reverse splits hitter against a reverse splits pitcher. The stars are lining up for Austin Reilly, so we have to consider him there. DJ LeMahieu, I definitely want to talk about as well. Those Yankees, like I said, I'm probably not going to be on him here. He's at 4.6K on DraftKings. Joey Wendell, 4.1K against Eric Fetty. Fetty is. Yeah, he's garbage against lefties. Wendell just came off of a really big game, so he's definitely somebody you want to consider down there. Looking at a BVP standpoint, trying to see if there's anybody that we like here. Nope, nothing really to write home about there. On FanDuel, I know we kind of skipped over second base. My apologies there, but if you are playing FanDuel, I think that your top play is probably still going to be Albies. Chisholm's the same price up there, or you pay down a little bit if you want to get down there. But third base for FanDuel, I absolutely love Reilly here. He's priced up. FanDuel gets it. He's 3.9K, the top play at the position. So if you want to pay down, you can obviously get like a Joey Wendell at 2.7K. Josh Donaldson's at 3K. You can pay down here. I don't see if there's anybody else that is really standing out to me on FanDuel. Nope, there's not. So third base seems kind of straightforward to me. You're going to see Austin Reilly in my main lineup. He's going to be one of my top favorite plays today, which makes me like him even more for the PrizePicks bet standpoint. Okay. All right. Moving on, guys. Shortstop. We're looking at it. We're moving on both sites here. I'm tracking them both, looking at BVP. Let's start there. Be a little bit different. Carlos Correa. This guy, he smashes Michael Pineda in his career. 26 plate appearances, 11 hits, 2 walks, 3 home runs, 4 doubles, hitting .478, slugging .1044 against the guy. Bo Bichette, amazing BVP also. Only 5 plate appearances, but he's gone yard against Michael Walker, reverse splits. We talked about that earlier. Definitely somebody we want to consider there. And looking down, there's nothing really else. Christian Javier is going to have a tough time against Corey Seager today. I will say I really like him from that standpoint a lot. So let's look at Carlos Correa here, because looking at it, I'm like, man, this guy's got excellent BVP today. However, he's not showing up as one of the top owned plays. I'm almost kind of wondering if he's on there somewhere. Let me try to find him here. Where are you at, Carlos Correa? Well, I don't see him on here, so we're going to have to look up and see what's up there. That's Correa. Let's see here. I don't know. All right, I'm trying to figure out why I can't find him on there. I'll look it up later and figure it out. But maybe he's hurt. That's probably why. Yeah, that could be why. So I must have missed something there. My apologies there. So with that being said, looking at the rest of the shortstops here, we got Corey Seager, who we talked about. Bo Bichette's probably going to be my favorite play. We talked about his BVP. We talked about him on the PrizePicks segment. We love this Toronto top of the lineup, especially the right-handers against reverse splits Waka. So Bo Bichette, 5.2K. That's pricey, but I really like him a lot. Javier Baez, I was on him yesterday. Obviously, he had an amazing game. Tough matchup against Ryan here, so he's going to be down a little bit for me. Brandon Crawford, probably not going to pay 5.1K. I think Blackburn's a little bit better a pitcher than what he's shown. He just seems to have a little bit better command, a little bit better movement on his pitches. And I don't know, there's something about the guy. I want to wait and see before I throw him in any lineups. I do want to mention Xander Bogarts because, I mean, I think that even though I don't like Boston, I think that, Ross Stripling could absolutely get hit here. I'm probably not going to play him as a GPP standpoint, but 4.90 xFIP is not good, man. And he seems to get hit really hard whenever he does, and those right-handers can hit him really hard. Xander Bogarts right here, looking at it from a pitch data standpoint, I actually like him a lot better than I do a Trevor Story because, like I said, against Stripling, it's a fastball and it's a slider. That's what you have to be able to do from the right side of the plate. Bogarts can definitely hit fastballs, so he's somebody we want to consider here, but it looks like Bo Bichette's just going to kind of be our guy. You can play Corey Seager for sure because I think he's a great, 5.3K, probably going to be more GPP. People are going to play Bichette here. I think that's, something that we should consider. Jeremy Pena, I don't know what algorithm DraftKings is looking at. I get this guy is an amazing talent. I'm a homer, obviously, with him, but 5.0K. This guy bats at the bottom of the lineup sometimes here against Otto. I do love, Bregman. I love the Astros here, but they're going to be more GBP. I'm going to stack them for sure. I think that they can absolutely get to this pitcher, this bullpen, but that's a little bit of a stretch here. A guy that I do kind of like here, and I think that, it just depends on, what he does if he gets on base. Jorge Mateo, he's a stolen base threat, one of the fastest guys in the league here against Jordan Montgomery. Obviously, he has stolen base upside once he's able to get on. Obviously, if that game kind of, decides to blow out a little bit, he's somebody we want to target. He is batting 7th. I know Pete likes Andrew Velasquez a lot going here against Zach Plesac. I think we haven't mentioned enough about maybe attacking Plesac here. I don't really think he's that good of a pitcher. He's been 5.0 xFIP, a low K rate, only 16%. And I think that he's a guy that can absolutely get hit hard today. He is pretty much a fastball slider type of pitcher. So there's a lot of guys here that we can absolutely get on board with. Velasquez, if you're playing a lot like a little wraparound stack, he's somebody to absolutely consider there. And then just kind of covering it out from the FanDuel standpoint. Before we move on to outfield and close this thing out, Jazz Chisholm is shortstop eligible, 4.1K. Bo Bichette's only 3.2K on FanDuel. I mean, it just seems kind of, I might be a Trevor Story fade today, guys. I know that sounds kind of like, well, he's going to be high owned. I think I'm just going to go against the grain. I don't understand why we would play Story here over Bichette, regardless of price. I get it. He's bad against Stripling, top of the lineup, reverse splits. I'm just not seeing anything that just is drawing me to him. And I could be completely wrong, so maybe I'll die on that hill. All right, outfield. We want to move on, close this out positionally. There's obviously a lot of your salary is going to be probably spent in the outfield from a BVP standpoint. Let's start there. Kike Hernandez has great BVP. No surprise against Ross Stripling. Has taken him yard, batting .571, 1286 slugging percentage here. Cole Calhoun. Old man Cole, if he makes the lineup here against Christian Javier, he's taken him yard twice. Obviously, somebody to look at. Juan Soto might be super low owned today, guys. I know he's going to be 5.3K. Obviously, that's a price to pay, but he has really good BVP against Pablo Lopez. Trey Mancini has smashed Jordan Montgomery. These are guys that we can look at. I mean, we talked a little bit about earlier about Shohei Ohtani, but Franmil Reyes is like a strikeout or a hit, it seems like, against this guy here. Eric Fetty doesn't have great success here against like a Jorge Soler. So that Miami stack is starting to look a lot better. He's also been hit hard with Jesus Sanchez, giving up a home run to him. Willie Calhoun, a couple of bombs against Christian Javier. A lot of places to go here in the outfield. So let's just kind of look at from what I feel like a ownership standpoint is going to go. We're going to go a little bit backwards here. We'll close out with DraftKings. Let's look at FanDuel first. I know projections are kind of going a little bit wonky here as I'm doing this, but George Springer here against Michael Wacha, 3.5K on FanDuel. I mean, I think that's almost a no-brainer. I know Mike Trout's there at 4.5K. Obviously, he's somebody who's going to be an amazing play. Marcell Ozuna, we talked about him. You can play Judge or Stanton, the Yankees. I like both of those guys a lot. Really like Chas McCormick, man. I hope he's not batting 8th. When he was batting at the top of the lineup, he's a good hitter for the Astros. Definitely can get on base, has some power. These are guys that we can consider here, looking at it from these Astros outfielders because they're going to provide us a lot of value. But I do think that you're going to see Judge up there. I've just never been an Aaron Judge fan, but I do think he's absolutely in play. He's going to be an amazing play. So, I don't want to down talk him here. He doesn't have great success against Tyler Wells, and I think I talked to you guys about that on pitching. I think Tyler Wells is decent. I don't think he's bad. And I worry about the Yankees on a slow start, but it is a weather game, so it's somebody we have to absolutely consider here. So Aaron Judge is somebody you want to look at. Marcell Ozuna, I love that price, man. 3.5K here against Leader Jr. Right-hander here, reverse splits type of pitcher. Ozuna can hit righties for sure, has a ton of power. Definitely somebody we want to consider here. George Springer, Mike Trout are probably going to be my two favorites. No surprise because of the fact that the price is so high, I have to depress ownership on them. So they're going to be luxury pay-ups here. Let's call them that. Kind of digging down to see if there's any other plays on there. I do love Yordan Alvarez here. He's been getting hot. Kyle Tucker went deep last night. He's been getting hot. Trey Mancini might be value of the day, guys. God, 2.6K here. Probably batting second against Jordan Montgomery in this weather game. The more I think about it, man, it just seems more dangerous and more dangerous and more dangerous to be playing Montgomery here. So he might get really low ownership with this weather game. Or if he's really high ownership, you need to hedge and play a Baltimore stack against him. That's the way that you get ahead of these guys on these mass 20, 150 lineups is you have to stack these guys and stack them up a couple different ways. Don't just throw one Baltimore lineup in. Put a little bit of money out there, play, a couple of Baltimore lineups, play the 1-5 stack, play the 8-9, 1-2-3 stack, play the 2-4-6-8 stack or whatever it is. Get different with it. Don't just stick to one thing on there. Looking at it from a value standpoint on FanDuel, Kyle Tucker's only 2.7K. If he's leading off here at 2.7K, he's going to be really high owned against this auto guy. So definitely want to consider. We talked about Brad Miller there. Joey Gallo decided to do something other than strike out, so that's good. Good for him. He had a home run yesterday. He'll probably go 0 for 4 strikeouts today. That's kind of the way that we're trending here. But with that being said, guys, there's a lot of really good payups that I like here. I think the highest projected outfielder for me is probably going to be George Springer, man. I just want to attack Michael Wacha here. I hope that plays out. I hope that, we can have some really good money stacks here with our Jays in there, maybe do some Jays and some Orioles, play some Astros in there as well. Love Atlanta today. So top stacks for me, just based off of just pure upside alone. I think Atlanta is probably going to be number 1 for me. The Jays are going to be number 2. I think underneath there, I'm probably going to look at Baltimore because they're going to be sneaky at 3. And then, I keep getting drawn back to Miami here. I think Fetty's awful. I think that Miami wins people a lot of money, and they're always low owned. So you can absolutely play that 1-4 or play the Jazz Chisholm, Jorge Soler, Jesus Sanchez stack. Maybe wrap around with the 9 guy, whatever. Just play them as a 3-man stack and play a 5-man stack from any of those other teams that we liked on there. Yankees are going to be popular. I'm not as high on them here, especially off of a game that they crushed. They tend to let us down here on the backside of things. So stacks, that's where I'm at, guys. Home run calls today. Austin Reilly looks amazing. The Jays guys, Bo Bichette, George Springer, they look amazing. If I had to pick one guy out of everyone that just is like a smash play, I just think Austin Reilly is probably the guy, just because the stars align. Reverse splits, right-handed hitter, reverse splits pitcher, a guy that I like here. Be sure, guys, as we close out the show, check out the PrizePicks show. Hit the like and subscribe, the thumbs up. We appreciate you guys. Hit the bell for notifications. Check us out on Discord, yourfielderschoice.com. We're here offering all sports. Obviously, our MLB is one of our flagship sports as well. Be sure to check out the PrizePicks room. If you're not prop betting already, use code YFC to get your deposit bonus, guys. That's it, man. We have a good MLB slate. We have good weather. Hopefully we win some money tonight. Actually, I know we're going to win some money tonight. So thank you all for joining me. I'm at YFC Sports V12. My name is Adam. Have a great day, guys. Thank you.